Hey, what's up, everybody? Jazz Borganzo here. Another episode of What's Next Weekend Edition. Hope you are enjoying it. I know I am. Well, as we heard earlier this week, the Disinformation Governance Board, yes, the 2022 version of Ministry of Truth, of course, created from the Dementia Administration, the Homeland Security wing of it by one Alejandro Mayorkas. And of course, Alejandro Mayorkas decided to bring in a TikToker as its director, and that is Nina Jankowicz. But before we get into her story, Mayorkas was interviewed in regards to this disinformation board, and yeah, we're not going to go after your speech, but we kind of are. Let's take a look. This comes out of Breitbart. Mayorkas, disinformation board won't infringe on free speech, monitor Americans. Let's hear it from his own mouth.
Let's talk about a different topic, which is what you are calling, your department is calling the Disinformation Governance Board. You unveiled that this week. Republicans are calling it Orwellian.
Fact.
And comparing it to the Ministry of Truth in the novel 1984. Can you clarify what exactly is this? What exactly will this Disinformation Governance Board do? Will it monitor American citizens?
Dan, I'm very pleased to do so.
I'm sure you are.
It's clear. I mean, those criticisms are precisely the opposite of what this small working group within the Department of Homeland Security will do.
Bullshit.
And I think we probably could have done a better job of communicating what it does and does not do.
So
the fact is that disinformation that creates a threat to the security of the homeland is our responsibility to address.
And how are you to judge that, buddy? Who is making you judge?
Throughout the years of the prior administration and an ongoing basis. Disinformation from Russia,
right.
China.
We know the
Iran.
problems, but it's still not clear to me how this governance board will act. What will it do?
So what it does is it works to ensure that the way in which we address threats, the connectivity between threats and acts of violence are addressed without infringing on free speech, protecting civil rights and civil liberties, the right of privacy. And the board, this working group, internal working group, will draw from best practices and communicate those best practices to the operators, because the board does not have operational authority.
Will American citizens be monitored?
No.
Guarantee that.
That is key. That is a key word Mayorkas said, that they have no authority to invoke or enforce anything. They are basically a sounding board, a suggestion board, if you will.
Well, so what we do, we in the Department of Homeland Security don't monitor American citizens.
You don't, but will this board?
Well, that's very questionable. We can go back to the days of its creation after 9/11, the Patriot Act. Yeah, you do the homework.
Board change that?
No. The board does not have any operational authority or capability.
Again, he reinforces it. They do not have they have zero capability to enforce anything. All they can do is say, hey, dementia boy, I don't like Ben Shapiro's talk. I don't like the Babylon Bees talk. I don't like what Charlie Kirk has to say. I don't like what Tucker Carlson has to say. So we need to do something, but we're just suggesting. We're not asking you to use any kind of enforcement like the DOJ or anything. But
what it will do is gather together best practices in addressing the threat of disinformation from foreign state adversaries, from the cartels, and disseminate those best practices to the operators that have been executing in addressing this threat for years.
Republicans are criticizing your decision, the administration's decision to choose Nina Jankowicz to lead this disinformation board. They say.
And speaking of lovely Nina. We go to this. This comes out of Breitbart. Biden's Ministry of Truth, Nina Jankowicz, called for Facebook to censor Breitbart. Yes, we have a lovely TikToker who is running the Ministry of Truth. Nina Jankowicz, the chair of the new Disinformation Governance Board in the Department of Homeland Security, wanted Facebook to censor Breitbart, joining the left's calls for Silicon Valley to censor conservative news outlets in 2019. Jankowicz, 33, whose past statements and, quote, songs, I'm not going to play any of you, I don't want your ears to bleed, came under scrutiny after her new job became widely known this week. Once promoted the Russian collusion conspiracy theory, of course, which is debunked, and denied that 2020 that Hunter Biden's laptop was authentic, which of course that was also debunked. See the New York Post. Yes, hideous, I know. She has also called for the increased regulation of free speech on social media, calling for Facebook CEO Mark Zuckerberg at Georgetown University of Free Expression to an unfortunate and protested against the inclusion of Breitbart on the platform. Jankowicz. For the past month, I've been mostly focused on the Ukraine-related news. There's been no shortage of tech news. However, at times, I have felt like I might not recognize the internet when I got back into it. Now that I've caught up, it's clear not much has changed, and that was October of 19. Last week, Facebook announced positive changes to its making its platform ahead of the 2020 elections, increasing page transparency and more aggressive labeling in its misleading content. Our two moves, I think, are really important and overdue. These changes were announced in the same breath as Zuckerberg's unfortunate free expression speech at Georgetown revelations that Breitbart will be part of Facebook News, the platform's subsidized news scheme that will deliver, quote, trusted content to users. Left-wing groups have pushed for boycotts of Breitbart News since Donald Trump was elected in 2016, and efforts to silence the independent conservative news outlets continued in Congress, notably Journalistic Competition and Preservation Act. Jankowicz also suggested that the Breitbart News repeated Russia's state-sponsored media in her 2020 book, How to Lose the Information War, Russia, Fake News, and the Future of Conflict. Of course, you left out CNN, MSNBC, legacy media, and of course the cucks on social media. She provided no evidence in the book for her claim. Wow, what a surprise. The fact of the matter is that when you have a social media singer who does little ditties about how misinformation and disinformation regarding the COOF, the vax, mass mandates, of course, the efficacy of these vaccines, the Hunter Biden laptop, Russia collusion, and on and on and on. I'm sure she had zero problem with having the Babylon Bee kicked off of Twitter, along with Tucker, along with Charlie Kirk, along with Alex Jones, along with Donald Trump, and a myriad of other conservatives, libertarians across the spectrum who were kicked off until one Elon Musk stepped into the frame and said, yeah, you're all coming back because I owns me some Twitters now. And of course, Jankowicz is not too happy, but it's convenient that this board, as I said in a previous video, was created days after Elon Musk purchased Twitter. So, yeah, it's going to be fun to see how a board that has zero capability, as Mayorkas had said, that they have no authority to do anything. But if they continue to push the DOJ, they continue to push Dementia Joe into saying, hey, you know what? We don't like these peoples. You need to do something about it. Yeah, it could get very ugly. And unfortunately, that is what the Ministry of Truth in 1984 was all about. Orwellian times, indeed, my friends. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Berganzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below. Like it, share it, subscribe to it. And we'll catch you guys again next time. Peace.